Good evening, everyone, and apologies for the slight delay. This is the beauty of trying to do everything through a live stream system. Welcome to the first ever episode of A Scotsman Talks To. I'm your host, Calum Lykan, and this is, as I say, our first episode, so I'm incredibly nervous and excited. Having technical issues was not in the plan for the nervousness, excitement, but the purpose of this series is simply just to introduce everyone to performers and the arts, just to give you guys a little bit of insight to what's happening, particularly in these times where we're a wee bit kind of isolated from it all. But with that in mind, I want to introduce you to our first ever guest. Now, this is a man who I met on the cobbled streets of Edinburgh. He is a comedian, an actor, and a street performer. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to welcome Byron Bertram. He probably can't hear any of this into the stream. So here we go. Welcome, Byron Bertram, the first guest to A Scotsman Talks To. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, Byron, I think the best way to do this, and obviously just because I know that you've got your headset mic on, just to make sure that you're nice and clear for everyone, I think the best thing to start with is basically, I've told them that we met on the cobbled streets of Edinburgh. You're a comedian, an actor, and a street performer, but I think it's probably best for you to introduce yourself and tell the world a little bit about you.
Yeah, pretty much it. I do all the three of them, and now I'm doing nothing. COVID has canceled my life, but no, hopefully I'll be back to I actually am doing a social distance gig in a little bit. So hopefully the fog is being cleared a little bit. So, but yeah, I started street performing when I was 16. Learned how to juggle in a theater program when I was a teenager, and then totally fell in love with street performing. And then I got into stand-up a few years after that, and then sort of started getting into the acting thing a few years after that, and sort of been simultaneously doing kind of all three.
Wonderful. So you're a man of many things and many talents. Now, we've got some questions from audience members, and I've got some questions for you, because you know what? I'm trying to make this incredibly professional.
Nice.
You've known me long enough. You know
it'll
go terribly. I've even printed off, and this is what I love. I have your how do you pronounce it? IMDb. IMDb.
Oh, IMDb, yeah.
And what I love about it is I didn't know you were 6 feet tall.
Yeah. My God. Isn't that fascinating? I think I'm like 6 foot and a half inch.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it does actually say that. 6.0 half. Yeah.
There you go.
So, obviously, I've been trying to just kind of make sure that I knew more about you than I used to know. And obviously, I knew you from Edinburgh. I knew you from the street performer days.
Yeah.
When you were doing that. And then you evolved into this wonderful world of comedy. But you also do acting. So you kind of do this wonderful thing. But you mentioned very briefly just when you introduced yourself about kind of how you got into it. But can you go into a bit more detail about kind of like what actually got you started in performance?
I guess, my parents, I went to a very Asian school. I was one of the few white kids there. And it was kind of this, I really did feel like a black sheep, except the opposite color. And I really, I was kind of got teased a little bit, being a bit of a chubby, fat white kid. And then I just really fell in love with high school drama and started being a bit of a class clown, doing impressions of teachers and stuff like that. And I noticed that, the class would crack up. And I sort of became the funny guy. And I love drama. I just love that adulation of doing a scene that went great. And I really felt like, no, I want to get involved in performing arts. And then I went to this theater program when I was 15 called Atlantis. It was a summer school for the performing arts, and they taught like music, acting, singing, dancing, all film and mass and movement. And one of the courses was called street theater. And they taught juggling, still walking, unicycle, stuff like that. And then I just got addicted to juggling. And then I saw people street perform in Vancouver, where I'm from. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Just people get in a crowd and then they pay you what, if, and how much they want to give you. It just was such a beautiful, amazing thing. And I thought, I got to do this. this. I got to do this. I got to find a way.
Yeah.
And then the summer after that, when I was 16, I went out and just tried to do my first street show, and I was terrible. And I was just doing all sorts of ridiculous stuff, like trying to get people to dare me to eat an onion, just weird stuff.
Wonderful. So you actually started when you were 16?
I did, yeah.
On the
I've been
street?
doing that for a long time, yeah.
So that must be quite unusual, because I mean, having kind of worked Edinburgh for years, been on the street for years, I know a lot of the guys start a wee bit later in life. So what kind of really motivated you to get started that early? I mean, what was the drive to, I suppose what I'm saying is, you became a street performer at 16. This has kind of fueled your life into performance. So what's the motivations? What has actually driven you to really focus on this career instead of, let's just say, a normal job?
I just loved how free it was. Just like you could, you choose where, when. I mean, it is kind of such a free, amazing life. And, there's rules and everything. And you got to sort of strike when the iron's hot and stuff like that with street. But I just felt, I just like, there was something really just beautiful about bringing strangers together and making them laugh, clap, and cheer. And you could have a billionaire beside a homeless guy, in every walk of life in between, and bringing them together and making this thing out of nothing. It was just, I just was like, man, this is, and just getting attention from strangers. I think I just always felt like, yeah, it's all entertainers. We're just being a needy only kid, just wanting attention.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I decided, feed me.
You wanted to be
Give
loved.
me attention. Yeah, love me, everybody.
Yeah, love you. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, something I remember, I've heard you say a few times, and I think it was in one of your bios, is your family, your mum and dad are also in the arts. Is that correct?
Yeah, my mum's a painter. My grandfather was quite a famous painter named Tony Onley. He got the Order of Canada. And my dad's a musician. He's played a lot in different bands over the years. And actually, yeah, he kind of supported me, my family, me and my mum a lot when I was a kid as a working musician.
Wonderful. So,
yeah.
With that in mind, I'm curious, because there's always the reaction to rebel against what your parents did. So,
totally.
Yeah. So was there any point in your life that you actually thought, no, screw this, I'm not going to do performance of that. I'm going to go be a banker or a councilman or something like that?
Yeah. No, I was pretty lucky. When I got into, my parents were uber supportive. My grandfather was kind of like, well, you should go to university and get and just have some, post-secondary education to fall back on. But no, I was actually lucky. I know so many performers are very, like, oh, my parents really looked down on what I did. They think it's just hippie, degenerate, free lifestyle, and it's not as stable and as they would like. A lot of parents look down on the kids for doing that kind of stuff. But no, I kind of got very lucky that way, because my parents were kind of just broke artists, and then I was making more money than them pretty quickly, and they just thought that was amazing.
Fantastic.
And my parents would be hitting me up for cash and stuff like that. And
so the reverse, yeah. I love it.
It was kind of the reverse, yeah.
Yeah. So from what I remember, you kind of don't do as much street performance now. Is that right?
Not as much. Well, especially now, because crowds are obsolete for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, it's ridiculous.
So you've kind of developed into different things. Now, the acting's an interesting one, because I've seen some of your comedy shows and you talk about it quite a lot. But obviously, we're dealing with an audience that may not know you. So please, sell yourself as an actor for us.
Yeah, so Vancouver, big film and TV center here. And I get sent out for a lot of these sort of parts. Like, for some reason, I get typecasted as a bad guy a lot. Like overweight sex offender too, just like hateful corn farmer, just like guy who abuses animals, angry gym teacher.
The perfect face for it, obviously.
Yeah. I just got this neutral, just mean face, I guess. They're like, that guy looks like an asshole. He's perfect.
Which is so weird, because you're actually genuinely a very nice person.
Yeah, exactly. Underneath this angry looking facade, I'm very tender and sweet and vulnerable.
Yeah, every time I've met you, you're generally just this very pleasant, happy person. So,
Yeah,
unless you're grumbling, but that's just performers in general.
yeah.
So what forced you? I mean, what was the acting about? Because it's there. You've got very different kind of things going on there. You know, street performance, comedian, and actor. Three very different genres you're working in. You still there, Byron?
Oh yeah,
No, I
sorry,
think we've
cutting out a
lost
bit.
him a wee bit. Let's just see. Give him a moment.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
Okay. Did you
Can you
catch
hear me
that,
now?
Byron?
Yeah, yeah. So you said street performing, acting, and stand up.
Yeah, so you've got three very different genres. So where did the acting come from? Or again, is it just that need to be loved?
Oh, yeah, that helps too. Well, I was, I love watching Saturday Night Live and comedy when I was a kid. That's when I got into stand up. I was wanted to do comedy as well. And so my street, well, no, the street is, my street show is basically stand up. It's basically comedy with a couple tricks. And stand up kind of, I always wanted to do stand up as a kid as well, but I fell into street first. And then acting, I guess acting, it's still performing. So you're still a performer. So they do kind of relate to each other, but they're different mediums.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was that much of a stretch. Like I'm a, some people like, hey, I'm a clown, and then I'm a lawyer.
Yeah. You've kind of at least stuck within the performance.
Yeah, yeah. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's not like I'm a plumber and then I'm a stripper,
Excellent. Well, let's move on to the comedy, because that's an element of what you do that fascinates me. I absolutely love comedy. I always have. I grew up watching comedy, comedians, great Scottish comedians like Billy Connolly. We've now got guys like Craig Ferguson kicking about, but there's a whole
Frankie
wealth
Boyle
of wonderful comedians out there. So I love comedy, but I'm not funny. So I don't do comedy. I leave it to people that are funny. So what is it what is the real drive behind your comedy?
I definitely just making people laugh. It really does feel like this complete wow validation. Even if it's just some silly like a Facebook post and you get a lot of likes, you get that dopamine rush. You're like, oh my god, is that funny? Is that funny? Oh, it is definitely something from your something to do with your ego, and just and if you're good at something, you want people to recognize it. So when you make people laugh, you're just like, all right, that was cool, that worked well. There's something about bringing joy to people and making them laugh that it feels so rewarding. It just never gets old.
Fantastic.
Especially making people telling a joke for the first time you haven't told, and that killing that never gets old.
Yep. I can imagine. So, what was your inspirations? Just out of interest. I mean, it's a horrible question to ask because it's kind of like one of those ones of, hey, who inspired you to be a comedian? And of course, the chances are they're bigger names currently than you are.
Yeah, exactly.
What were your inspirations? Because your comedy is you've got a lot of character based. You do some fantastic accents. I've been watching and loving your social media, not social
distance
media.
warrior.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who were the guys that kind of inspired you as you were developing into comedy?
I guess as a kid, me and my dad watched a lot of comedy together. Watched a lot of Saturday Night Live, which I loved as a teenager. But for stand-up wise, George Carlin, really started watching him a lot. And then watching the Eddie Murphy specials and Richard Pryor and stuff like that. But then I think, really watching old Andy Kaufman stuff, that really kind of inspired me. I just thought just as a wacky, unreal character who died tragically young. Mm-hmm. Norm Macdonald, really fell in love with him. I think I started watching Norm Macdonald when he was on Saturday Night Live, and then I saw some of his stand-up, and I just thought, man, this is hilarious. This guy's great. He was definitely an inspiration. And then my downstairs neighbor actually was this really terrible open mic comedian, and then he said he was gonna go to an open mic or whatever, and I went to see him, and it was pretty bad. But then I just thought, man, I want to get into this, but I didn't really start until like it was in my early 20s. Then that's when I kind of hit an open mic. So I watched a bit of comedy first and going to Yuck Yucks when I was a teenager. and just see it. Even before I was old enough to get into the club and stuff like that. And then went there, and then I was like, man, this is great. I got to do this as well. You know, I knew an early age too. It's like I don't want to just be a street performer. You know, you got to diversify. I want to diversify myself artistically because street performing is such a great thing, but it is very redundant. It's very repetitive. It's like you're doing the same show, and you can't really, if you want to be flexible, you know, it's like you got to be safe. You got to be, you know, pretty safe. I mean, you can push the envelope a bit, but you're trying to, you know, please. You know, a little kid and a 9-year-old and somebody who's left wing and right wing and, you know, a Muslim and a Jew and and a billionaire and a homeless guy and a gay guy and a straight guy. And you're just every walk of life you're bringing together. And so you got to play sort of lowest common denominator. Everybody clap. Look at, I farted, you know, hey, touch me. You know, you got to be like low line juvenile kind of, you can't be that introspective or that
highbrow.
You can't get that
detailed.
You can't really get that highbrow. And the people that get really highbrow on the street, they always get screwed. They always get screwed in the head. So you got to be successful in the street. You got to be sort of commercially viable for everybody.
Yeah,
and that gets a little old. That gets a little old. So because you just say, shit, I'm doing the same thing, even though it's great, it is very sort of a one-dimensional sort of medium of performing arts.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, obviously, you know, from Edinburgh days, I was literally set up right next to the main pitch. When I was doing my tour. So my days were just listening to, I mean, great performers, but my God, the same hat lines, the same pool of lines and jokes and,
everybody's just stealing off each other too. There's just kind of like 10 unicycles in a row. Everybody doing the same jokes. Everybody climbing on their volunteers. Everybody clap to the beat. Everybody count to 3. You know, the same shit.
Yeah.
There's kind of like 8 different finales, 8 different shows.
Yeah. So comedy gives you a much broader idea. You can actually really work your comedy and take it. Obviously, you're focusing. You know you're working a nightclub or a bar, so you know you can really. You don't have to worry about little Timmy.
No. I mean, you could definitely be dirtier for sure. You could swear. You could be more foul and crass. But even that, you could just explore more in-depth ideas. You could be a lot more sort of original and truthful to yourself. You can't. You don't have to just stick on the same old shtick that pleases everybody.
Wonderful. Now my eyes getting caught to comments flying in now and questions. Give me a second while I just.
Nice.
You know what? Let's do this. Somebody's asked. Nick Richards. I don't know if I've got to be careful because it might be someone setting you up that I don't know. Nick Richards is asking, Byron, has anything embarrassing ever happened mid-show?
Yes. What did I do? I threw up once. Yeah, I was really. I think I got sunstroke in Sydney, and I got. I just had to barf my guts out.
Wow.
Actually, that was at the very end. I managed to hold off just long enough where I was passing the hat, and when I passed the hat, I just threw up into the Sydney Harbor.
Oh, I was about to say, please tell me you didn't actually vomit in your hat on all that money.
No. I managed to puke when people were giving me money.
Yeah. Nice.
There's been times I've been close to you know, like I had to go to the toilet. There's been really close times where I almost shit myself. What else? Other things, you know, besides cops giving me stuff. One guy assaulted me, choked me and punched me. And,
wow. I think I was in Holland. I remember you telling me that one.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, the stories from the street are amazing, but I know I'm trying to avoid too much of the street stuff because I know other guys talk about that all the time in various shows. So I'm trying to kind of like, although the street has so many good stories.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I like sitting in the cafe bar at the end of a festival day talking to all you guys was always an experience to what had been going on. Crazy times. You still there, Byron? Yeah, you've frozen a wee bit again, so I'll give you a couple of seconds. The challenges of live streaming, folks.
Yeah.
You still there?
Oh yeah. Here. Oh, okay. You're working a bit now. Yeah. I'll get there now. That's what we need to get, this 5G network. That's what we need, right?
No. Hey, whoa! Conspiracy theories. Come on, you.
Yeah. Once we get this 5G network, right, then it could be smooth, right?
Yeah.
I'm all for the 5G network because I don't know. That way I could finally watch adult films on an airplane. It won't keep buffering.
It's all about that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Somebody's asked an interesting question, which is really quite kind of prudent just now, because we're all adapting at the moment, and that could change. Because I know you've actually got an event this week, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm looking forward to it.
Right, but how are you finding actually this? I mean, I'm finding this very unusual, but how do you find this, doing these live streams or these online sort of things? Because I've seen you do a few and you've done a couple of wee videos, but how are you finding it? I mean, how's it changing your life?
I think, the stand-up online is kind of, I think it's a bit, it doesn't really work. It's kind of like trying to hump air. It's just like, it's really a weird medium. And I know people are just like, hey, we're going to try to, it's like, well, why don't you just play, basketball without any hoops? It just doesn't make any sense. So I find it's, I hate this social distance stuff, and I hate this, it's, like all of us kind of fighting that low level depression, and you're just thinking, having an existential crisis. But I think using this time to work on other things, like make characters, make videos, work on scripts, podcasts, stuff like that, interview stuff like this is great. But yeah, just doing stand up on it just is weird. Or if you could get like 50 people watching you at once, and you're like, it's just bizarre.
But you can't see them.
Yeah, exactly. Or 50
so you don't know how to read the room.
Chat,
you don't know how to.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just feel like you're bombing because you're like, no, nothing, and you're like, well, maybe you're killing. You don't know.
Yeah, I obviously this isn't about myself, but the ones that I've done, the live streams, I've discovered I just turned into a manic creature, just putting out so much energy to keep myself going that I just look like I'm a deranged storytelling idiot. Are you kind of finding that as well, that you kind of leave doing a live stream or something exhausted because you're just...
Yeah, a little bit. It is weird because you're just trying to build up this energy to yell at a one-sided mirror.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of be like, okay, how did that go? Oh, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
There's something a bit, empty about it.
And of course, my biggest problem, I'm still doing it today, is I'm looking into your face down here and forgetting that you're actually here. And I do that all the time. I'm not good at this camera work. To me, it's very strange. But anyway, the comedy aspect, I love what you're doing, because I've been kind of watching all your little videos, and I've done research for this, and I have a confession to make, because it's true. I've never seen you live. Because
you haven't, have you?
Yeah, no. During the Fringes, our schedules never matched. You know,
Right.
you were always on clashing, and then every time you've come to Calgary, you've forgotten to send out a message to everyone who lives in Calgary.
Oh man, shit! I was about to go there too, and then this happened as well. So
Yeah.
But I'll definitely let you know when I'm back.
Oh, please do.
Yeah,
And I'll post that for everyone, because absolutely brilliant. So let's move on. What do you think of garden gnomes?
Garden gnomes. Oh yeah, tremendous. Just tremendous creatures.
Yeah.
Just wonderful. Yeah.
Good.
They love them in Sweden.
Really?
Yeah, I think Sweden's all about the trolls and the gnomes. Yeah.
Good.
I'm fine with garden gnomes as long as they social distance.
Well, this is the downside, because apparently they're very social. So they're really struggling. The suicide rate's tremendous over there for them.
Yeah.
I made you laugh. Wow. Hey.
Yeah.
Excellent. No, I've got a couple of silly questions to throw at you as well, Byron, just to challenge you. I don't want you getting stale with me. Now, here's a funny one, because somebody obviously thinks that we're like really good friends. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
And really,
we've been hanging out for years.
And we've actually had a huge falling out recently, and we're just being professional.
Did. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually been asked, Stephanie's asking, tell us how the two of you connected. What was the the kismet moment where you became friends and colleagues?
I remember the moment distinctly. I was just like, I remember asking him, I was like, do you want to be friends? And then you were just like, well, I don't know if I want to, I don't, you were, at first you were like, well, I do want to have other friends. And I was just like, well, I don't know if it's going to work. And then eventually said, you know what? Screw it. It's just me and you. I don't need any other friends.
Yeah, you were very clingy. You liked to kind of encase somebody in your being.
Yeah. No, man, I'm all about just, I don't want to cheat on friends of other friends.
Yeah. I remember when that other person looked at me and you went at them with the broken bottle. Woof.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
dark days.
Having some drinks in the patios or something like that, or where was it?
Oh, it'd be the city cafe. It's the city cafe. It's called, isn't it?
Yeah, but I more remember you from Edmonton. Really, that's where we kind of bonded more.
Yeah. I mean, we'd met in Edinburgh many times, but it was actually when I came over here and started kind of doing the fringes. That's when it was more like, hey, and you were just like, hey, and then it was like, oh yeah, you're that guy.
Oh yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah, just yeah. There is no kismet, Stephanie. Like literally, it's the whole performer thing where we are like ships in the night, and after, like we run into each other at festivals and events, and literally catch up over a beer in places like the what's that awful bar?
What was it, the Next Act?
No, not the Next Act. The nighttime one.
Oh, that disgusting where the horrible Korean pizza.
Yeah, it's a great wee bar, but it's horrible.
Steam Wheels or something.
Steel Wheels.
Steel Wheels. That's it.
Yeah. That's
disgusting.
the haunt of all performers at Edmonton Fringe.
Oh yeah, they love that place. Yeah,
it's they do. So, a serious question now.
Yeah,
you've done street performance. You're an actor, and you're a comedian. Now, I know how people kind of view street performers, having lived and worked in Edinburgh for 20 years and seen the reactions. What would you say? How do people like view you as a comedian? Like, what's the reaction when you tell people, hey, I'm a comedian?
It's mixed. It's sometimes I don't even like telling people. It's like, because tell me a joke. Hey, have you ever thought about doing a Netflix special? Hey, have you ever thought about being famous? It's like, no, never thought of it. So it's like, no, maybe I'll give it a go.
Nice.
So or a lot of say, oh, who's your favorite comics? Who's your, or it's weird when you're dating, you say you're a comedian, just like online dating. It's like, oh, so you're a comedian, eh? So you're funny or what? It's just kind of like this, like almost picking a fight.
Wow. Do you often get asked, oh, you're a comedian, make me laugh? Yeah,
sometimes. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many times do you actually bow to that pressure?
I'm just like, are you a doctor? Can you check out my prostate?
Yeah. Most of them do.
No, I usually just say I'm a professional comedian. Give me $10.
Yeah. Show me the money.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so another question coming in. Where's the best place you performed?
That's a tough one. For stand-up, I would say my favorite comedy city is probably London. I love it.
London?
There. Yeah. Some great venues there. The crowd's
a den of a hive of villainy and evil and oh jeez.
Yeah. Just a lot of degenerates there that just don't get offended easily.
Yeah, thanks for not pointing out that screwed up that Star Wars quote.
Yeah. But Edinburgh for street performing, amazing, and comedy too. I mean, I love Edinburgh.
Yeah. So street performance more for Edinburgh. London is your comedy scene.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Excellent. That's good. Yeah, London's a great place. I love it. It's one of those places you could live, but you don't want to live.
Yeah, I know. I get that. It's just so crowded and broken and old and expensive and kind of miserable in a lot of ways. But it's also just sort of just the history and the for performance. It's I love it.
Yeah. Excellent. So you obviously had a lot of gigs. I'm going to ask a slightly interestingly personal question. How many gigs have you actually lost this year? Just, I mean, like festivals, events, because it seems to be the biggest problem this year for us.
Big time, yeah. I was lucky. I didn't have that much sort of booked in the horizon because I'm just not very good, so nobody likes me. No, I had, I only had a few actually, not too much.
Right.
Which was a bummer, but I've got it better than a lot of people. I know some people just losing just tons and tons and tons of gigs. People with big cruise ship contracts or all these big gigs that just.
I hear the cruise ships are trying to hire people now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there was once a movie about it called Death Ship or something. I don't know. I wouldn't be touching that kind of.
Germs on a plane.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's weird times because obviously we're all having to adapt and change, and we're all hoping it gets back to normal, which it will. But not trying to get into the bleak side of this because we are doing this live during the kind of tail end, hopefully, of this session. In Vancouver, they're opening up a wee bit because I have seen you in a few pubs.
Yes, just spreading the COVID around.
Yeah, excellent. And Calgary's thinking of reopening soon. But, it's like, how long do you see it before things get really back to normal for, say, your profession?
That's a $1 trillion question, I guess. I think it'll just keep slowly easing up. I would say really normal, probably end of the year, maybe. But, acting's starting to open up here. I think the film and TV industry is starting to open up probably sometime about a month-ish. Excellent. So, but, there'll be a lot of more domestic productions. Maybe it won't be as in a comedy, it'll just open up more and more smaller kind of things. But I would say, if I just had to guess, probably later fall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
kind of
projections.
Then that's just a guess.
Yeah. That's kind of what everyone's doing. I mean, literally, it's September, October are my next events that have all been put back. And we're just waiting. We'll see what happens. So
I know. Yeah. I mean, hopefully sooner rather than later.
But that actually leads me on to an interesting thing. And this is a little bit more of a serious kind of question for you. But the reality is we are in the arts, if we take it in that broad spectrum of the word.
Yeah.
And it always seems to be the first thing that gets abandoned when anything happens.
Totally.
As soon as anything goes wrong, funding's cut, this happens. Why do you actually feel that is? Because with arts being such an important and huge part of everyone's lives, why would you say we're the first to, I won't say suffer, but to be the forgotten ones?
Well, I guess it's just, we're not viewed as essential, I guess, when it comes to, grocery stores or, frontline workers or essential services. I mean, the arts is great and people love it, but I guess when it comes to just, we're not, as much as we love the arts and they're important, I don't know if my jokes are saving people's lives, or, but it is really important. And, but I guess it's just one of those things where, you need food to live. I guess you don't need to watch a TV show or listen to comedy to survive.
That is true. Good. No,
but I mean, yeah, I wish we weren't as abandoned as we were. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we are getting a little bit. I mean, hopefully that CERB thing will keep going. I hope.
Great. Yep. I know it's one of those things, and I'm just curious to get a kind of artist view. And what you're saying is completely true. We're not essential, but we are a part of life which is necessary.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those strange sides of things. So next silly question for you. We've hit a serious topic. I can't continue that serious vein. You're about to get into a fight, Byron. Okay?
Right.
What song comes on as your soundtrack for fighting?
Oh, man. Another One Bites the Dust.
That's a bit defeatist. Or are you meaning the person you're about to take on?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Right.
Either or.
Either or?
Yeah. Depending on how big the guy is.
Well, you're a decently sized gentleman yourself.
Yeah.
So I could see you packing a punch.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got no fights since high school.
Really?
Yeah, I've been pretty good.
Yeah? Talk
Yeah.
your way out of a lot?
Yeah, I don't know. I just seem to avoid them.
Yeah, no, it's the best
Yeah.
way. It's the best way. I used to always get, I wouldn't like to meet you in a dark alley, which is kind of suggestively wrong. Right, when you actually realize, as you grow old, you realize, no, there's something wrong with that statement. But I look in the mirror and I just see me and I'm like, why would anyone be scared of me? But, I don't think I've actually been in a fight for years either. So,
Yeah, right.
hey, look at us go.
Yeah.
Good,
That's great.
upstanding citizens.
Yeah, big time.
So, with that in mind, talking about, verbal and talking your way out of fights, hecklers. It's always a great subject because we all get them in every performance. But comedy is notorious for hecklers.
Yeah.
Do you like them? Are you
No, they're
for
terrible. No, it's terrible. Like, it's always, it's a it's not like the movies hecklers in my experience. It's not like, you suck, get off the stage, and then the mic gets feedback. And you're like, like, that awkward stand-up comedy scene.
Yeah.
Right? It's usually like some fucking stagette. And it's like, I don't know, Bethany is getting married. It's like, they're just usually just talking. They just won't stop talking.
Really?
Yeah. And then it's just like, what we should do? We're getting married. You want to go to a strip club? No, let's just talk through a comedian show. Woo!
Wow.
What do you want to do? Yeah, for some reason, stagettes are just comedy cancer.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
just
Well, I can
anytime
imagine
they're
that.
just
Yep. Yeah. Trying to do a walking tour with them was hellish. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you ever had any like really memorable heckles, or is it just that annoying murmuring tone of people talking while you're performing?
It's usually that. But memorable heckles, usually it's I've had just like one guy, people just I forget even how I handled it. It was just kind of like, they got escorted out or I can't even really remember what I did. I know the street have had worse experiences actually.
Oh yeah.
For hecklers. I mean, because stand up, at least there's some sort of control. You're on a stage, there's a crowd, they're there to see you, and there is staff, and there is some, sometimes security in that. Is the street, you just deal with crazy street people. They're
and
just
not
walking
always
through the
crazy.
show. Yeah.
That's the worst thing in the street. Sometimes it's just drunk or people that feel that they can get away with anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like the crazy street people, they see a crowd and they'll just like sometimes walk right through and just be like, oh my God, it's just like flies being drawn to a light, just madness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another question coming in, just I'm trying to mix my questions with audience questions here.
Yeah.
I want to make them feel like they're part of this,
Right.
I can't see them. They could be they could be doing anything, but I want to make them feel part of this. So this is actually for us both, but I'm not going to answer this because I've been other things before I got into performance. But
right.
What would you both be if you weren't in the arts?
What would I be? I think I would be something to do with history. I love history. I love museums. Might be something to do with history.
A curator?
Degree, I don't know. Maybe
an Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
take on life.
Maybe an archaeologist.
That's actually what I wanted to do when I was growing up. I wanted to be Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Not archaeology.
Yeah.
Just wear a hat, have a whip, and travel the world.
Pretty much.
I mean,
that sounds great.
I mean, I call it the Harrison Ford complex because it's like anything he's been in, like Han Solo, and it's a weird one. Anyway, let's not talk about.
If I wasn't a performer, I'd want to be Harrison Ford. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. I mean, he's just ridiculously handsome, isn't he? He's just talented, handsome.
Yeah.
Shit. Unlike us. No, me.
Speak for yourself.
I know I'm terrible. Sorry. Just right. I'm just checking our comments here. Yeah, I'm not answering that one because I used to be a banker. I used to be. I literally have done every blue collar job on the planet before I came to what I do now.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking there's no point in me answering that. Everyone knows my story. This is about you. This is about the excitement. Now, I had a really good question and I've lost it now. Okay, yes. So you're in Vancouver, which is notoriously good for performance.
Oh, for street performing?
For everything. Comedy, I've been to, like, just the arts in general seems to thrive reasonably well where you are.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. There's
Right.
there's
So-
a fair bit going on here.
With all your travels, because I believe, if I remember correctly, was it 25 countries or 25 locations?
Yeah, about that. Been
Right.
in 25 countries, yeah.
Where you've performed so far, you've mentioned London. Is that is your all-time greatest performance zone, you say?
I'd say that's probably, if I had to pick one city.
Right.
London
So
would
that
be my
feels like
favorite.
quite a thriving place.
Yeah.
So where would you say struggles with the arts in all your places that you've performed?
Well, where were the? Holland was kind of weird. Amsterdam, I thought crowds were very strange there. They
Is
were
that
just kind
just
of
the
like
Dutch though, or
maybe
is
the
that
Dutch are just weird people that just be like, I like your jokes, but I don't laugh for them, but they are nice. Just weird crowds.
Wait a minute, are you rewriting that terrible street joke that what would we be without comedy?
Germany, yeah, pretty much, yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
you're now saying
I'm
Holland.
thinking Holland. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm thinking Holland. I thought the Germans had a better sense of humor than the Dutch.
That, you know what? But right, you've heard it here, folks. The
Yeah.
great street line has been rewritten on this show. History has been made.
Yeah. Where would
Yeah,
we
that
be
was the
without
joke
comedy,
I
yeah.
used to hate because having dealt with so many German people, they've got a great sense of humor. In fact, it's often quite a filthy sense of humor. So I was
yeah,
always surprised
absolutely.
at that.
Yeah.
So you say Holland. Okay, so let's get into this then. What would you do? How do you feel you could resolve Holland's comedy issue?
I don't know. They're just, just go to Belgium. I don't know. I don't know how to change. They're just. I saw them even just watching Dutch comedians, not laughing for Dutch comedians. I'm like, you paid to see this guy, and you're not laughing at him at all. They're very, very bizarre people. Yeah. Well, what would I do? I would have get Germany to maybe occupy them again. You know.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I
know. What I think my grandfather fought in the Second World War, and he was there when they got liberated. And I thought, I don't know, maybe he made a mistake.
You know what? I said when I set this up, the people who I'm interviewing could say what they want. I mean, that's it. It's a free for all. You know, and I'm leaving that one alone.
So the answer is we just got to make Holland Germany again.
Holland, Germany, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting. I'm watching the ticker here. I'm watching.
Yeah,
the
make
comments.
Amsterdam German again.
Oh God. So actually, that's a very valid point. You're a great fan of Trump, if I remember correctly.
Oh, huge. Yeah, huge. No, I don't like Trump. I just find him very entertaining.
Yes.
And I do find people just the reactions to him entertaining. It's like, if you like Trump, just unfriend me now, not my president. And it's like, all right, how's he affected the quality of your life? Exactly. And he hasn't.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't come here, we're fine.
No, I mean, sure. Yes, he's a megalomaniac. He's a narcissist. He's an asshole. But, I think any president to be that job, you got to have your hands coated in the blood of newborn babies. Anybody who's going to be the head of a state is going to be a terrible human being, I find.
Yeah, it seems to be a prerequisite for the job.
Yeah, it really is.
But material-wise, these guys must offer. I mean, I know that you've.
Oh yeah.
These are questions you've probably been asked, but these guys must offer you just some of the absolute gold. But how do you pick and choose, trying not to do it, knowing that other comedians are probably brutalizing it?
Well, no, I mean, you just do. I mean, all you can do is just write stuff you think is funny, and then you try it, and if it works, it works, and that's great. I mean, I don't really have control of what other people write. So, if you do it better than most, or it stands out, then that works, I guess. But it's not like, hey, don't joke about Trump at all, because other comedians, I think you could joke about anything. It's just how you do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Byron, we're going to wrap up soon. I always block off about an hour and a half, but it's just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because obviously doing this new live stream, we've got technical issues as we experienced earlier before we got on. And there's all these kind of different things. So you've got a performance coming up this week. Tell everyone about it, because obviously there's probably a few people from Vancouver. I'm seeing a couple of comments that you live in Vancouver. Everyone's excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's excited that I live in Vancouver.
Apparently so.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm at the House of Comedy. I'm this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6 shows actually. Only 50 people. It's like 25% capacity.
Wow.
Social distancing gig. It's it's one of the first comedy clubs that's opened, and I'm really excited to be doing a handful of shows for small crowds. But at least we'll be getting back in there.
Getting back in there.
Yeah, you go to houseofcomedy.net. You can get tickets.
Okay, so that was houseofcomedy.net for anybody that's interested for tickets. That's brilliant. And how many shows are you doing?
I'm doing 6 shows. So 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday.
Oh, they're working you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty
actually, just on the comedy, because you're doing your sets coming up, somebody's actually asking, is there a genre that you avoid doing in your comedy? Is there anything you actually avoid?
Yeah, anything non-offensive. I avoid that. Everything I do is divisive and traumatic. No, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I totally avoid doing. I don't, like squeaky clean sort of cruise ship stuff. My wife makes me sleep on the couch. Just boring dad humor.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's one thing I've actually noticed about comedians of late. They have got very clean. I mean, when I got into comedy, it was Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, as you mentioned, Dennis Leary, Bill Hicks. It was guys that really, they went for the throat. But comedy has now become very squeaky clean. There's a couple of guys pushing the boundaries.
No, there's a lot of guys pushing, but there's a lot of squeaky clean guys too. It's kind of like anything. It's like, people sort of put stand-up or comedy in one genre, but there's so many different types of comedy, so many different types of comics as well. So, but I know there's, definitely the whole PC sort of pushback. You can't joke about that. Don't joke about that. Don't joke about rape. Don't joke about peanut allergies. Don't joke about, whatever.
Okay.
So, but, yeah.
Peanut allergies. Okay, Byron. So the last question I have for you is this one. And this is the penultimate question, which I think every artist needs to do, because you are forging a path out there. You're doing your thing. You've worked in street. You work in street, you act, and of course you do comedy. So what words of wisdom would you give to an up and coming artist performer? What would you tell them? Like, what would you tell them to do, and what would you tell them to avoid?
Street performing, this famous street performer, the Butterfly Man, he said something to me when I was a teenager. He said, you know what? You see somebody that has a show that works, just steal it. He's like, can I borrow some kerosene? Yeah. No, be patient, be persistent, build relationships, be nice to people. Don't have a huge ego. Try. Don't be afraid to fail. Go out there, just trial and error. Really, really record your sets, record your shows, analyze yourself, be truthful to yourself. Try not to be delusional, think everything you do is amazing, but really try to, measurable results.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
I've failed about 50% of them already.
Yeah. Well, no, we all do. I mean, nobody's perfect.
Excellent. Well, Byron, I want to thank you very much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I'll get you to hold on. I'll drop you off the screen, but if I can ask you to hold on while I sign out.
Sounds great.
And just double check something with you after the show, make sure I've got some of your information right when I'm promoting the show out there for you, because although it's live stream, it's going to go onto a podcast, and it's also going to be obviously available on YouTube and Facebook for all time. So thank you very much, Byron. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will sign you off now and very quickly wrap up the show for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, folks, thank you very much for joining us on the first show. These shows are always going to have a few glitches to begin with, or ironing out problems. Hopefully you heard Byron perfectly well. That was an absolute pleasure chatting to him. And thank you very much for the questions, folks, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to deal with any of them just due to the stream coming through. So, Byron was our first guest. And if anyone else is a performer or in the arts and wishes to be on the show, please drop me an email at calumlycanstoryteller@gmail.com and we'll schedule you in. We can either do live or pre-recorded. Our next episode is on Thursday the 28th, this coming Thursday. We're going to be doing 2 a week for the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks just to build up a little bit of a following. And then we'll probably go to weekly. And our next show is fabulous as well. Another great performer, Johnny Summers from Calgary. Johnny Summers is an amazing vocalist. He's an amazing trumpeter. He's huge in the jazz scene. So please join us, same time, same place, Thursday the 28th, when Johnny Summers joins me on A Scotsman Talks To. But for this episode, I have been your host, Calum Lykan. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining, and good night, folks.